Hello and welcome to the Limitless Landscapers podcast. This week's episode is all about reflection, not perfection. If this speaks to you right now as we go into the first week of 2024, then you need to get this show in your life. Without further ado, let's go to the show.
As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods. If you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show.
Hello, guys, and welcome to this week's podcast. I'm your host, Paula, as always, and today I'm talking about reflection, not perfection. And I'm talking about this because going into a new year, you can obviously set some resolutions and some goals, and you can almost feel going into the first week that you've already fallen off the wagon or you're not doing the things you should be doing. Maybe a lot of shoulds are playing in your mind at the moment that you haven't started. And we're now on, as I record this, we're on day 4 of January 2024. And maybe you're thinking, why is this week not going the way as planned? Why have I not done the things that I wanted to do? Why did it feel hard? And I'm here to tell you it's not perfect. It's not going to be. And it's definitely how I feel right now. So starting with Christmas, really, I had big plans. If you've listened to last podcast that I created, I had lots of plans of what I was going to do on the business during the Christmas and New Year shutdown. And I felt like I'd have lots of time and I could get things done. Now, the reality of that situation was I didn't feel like I had a lot of time at all. What with Christmas preparation, seeing friends and family, doing the exchanging of gifts all the way around Christmas, and then Christmas itself. Also, adding into the mix, I was ill just before Christmas. Then my daughter was ill at the same time. And then my son got ill a few days before Christmas. And that lasted right into the new year and when they went back to school. So I didn't have really any time because I was dealing with sickness and sick children. So it made me feel a little bit initially guilty that we didn't have that time. And me and Mike haven't had the time to sit down and plan like I was hoping for. It always feels like it would be perfect if we went into the new year and everything was planned, all our goals were set, and everything was just going the right way. And we were doing all the things we wanted to do because one of my goals or resolutions, whatever you want to call it, really, I don't really care what label you put to it, is I wanted to begin journaling again because I haven't been for a while now because it hasn't really felt aligned. Whereas I felt like going into this new year, I wanted to start as I go on. I wanted to take that time for myself every morning. Now, that has not happened again. Reflection, not perfection. In a perfect world, I would be getting up at 6. I would be sitting there doing my journaling, my meditation, working on me, and then going into the day. Unfortunately, we have been decorating the house. So we started with my son's room before Christmas, and then we started on my daughter's room between the Christmas and New Year period as well. So essentially, we have been having lots of late nights trying to get beds built. Now, a bed that should have taken 2 hours, apparently, as per instructions, took 2 days to build. Now, it was quite an intricate thing, a high sleeper with lots of storage and stuff like that. So yes, there was lots of moving parts to it, but essentially it took 2 whole days just to put the bed up. That was after decorating, cleaning, and then obviously we're adding in soft furnishings and pictures and stuff like that. So it's taken a lot longer than planned and a lot more late nights than planned. So getting up early this week has not happened yet. That was one of my things. I wanted to get back into a sleep routine. One of the things from my personal trainer is sleep. Going into this prep, because I'm heading very rapidly into a prep for my first competition in September, is that I have to get a handle on my sleep. And that means going to bed early and getting up fairly early. Not happened this week. So it hasn't been perfect. It hasn't gone to plan. And I just want to raise this because it's important for you guys not to beat yourself up. Nothing is perfect, okay? Not one thing in life is perfect, and nor should you want it to be. However, you can take this time rather than trying to aim for perfection. You can utilize reflections. I have been thinking, I haven't sat down with Mike and planned the next incoming year and beyond yet, but I have been doing my own self reflection on 2023. And from a business perspective, there's quite a lot that we managed to achieve in 2023 and a lot that I could reflect on. So I'll take you through a few things that I was looking at in this reflection, and maybe you can do the same. So in 2023, we took on our new office, which currently, I go up to the office, other staff members utilize the office, and essentially it's aiming to be a showroom later this year. We also started a brand new service. So we started offering maintenance and soft landscaping elements to our existing clients and new clients. And this was mainly because we took on a new manager, our soft landscaping specialist guy, Sean. He's headed up that side since August. Alongside that, I took on some admin staff, which has really helped me take some time, bits and pieces off my to-do list to say. I've hired a whole new team for soft landscaping. I'm booked up till May/June for the hard landscaping guys going into 2024. We got a new accountant on board to help us understand our figures and our business better and looking at more profit first led accounting. And what else did we do? I've made kind of semi notes. But essentially, we also ended the year in a very good plus figure as we went through December into January. Last year, I was banging on about winter prep, and I took my own advice and did some winter prep, and it worked out because essentially I didn't open the doors January going back to work, worrying about where the money's coming from and having to chase lots of invoices because we'd done the chasing, we've got the money in. Secondly, it's probably the first year that I haven't been scared of the wage bill it's always been paid, but there's always been an element of fear around it because you're closed for 2 whole weeks and that impacts your cash flow if you don't manage it better earlier. And that's a whole other topic for another podcast. But essentially, I banged on about this winter prep. I took a few people through it and I put myself through it, and it worked really well because I had no fear, no anxiety. In fact, it was such a good month end figure that going into January has felt easy, considering we have come up against a few issues this year. 2023 was actually a really good growth year for my business, stepping outside the comfort zone, taking on much more overheads really in order to get that growth in. But also we've attracted some really good projects, built some really good contacts, and it was really good from a business perspective, really good. Also from a personal perspective, that's not to say that wasn't good, but this year I feel we can up level again. So I would urge you to do the same. Do a bit of reflection, even if it's, now this wasn't done, sat down, spent hours writing everything down. This was just purely sat here with a cup of coffee a few days ago and just thinking about what have we achieved in the business. And I'm talking just about my landscaping business now, not TLC or anything else. But essentially, what have we achieved? And how can we reflect on this? And how can we look back on it? Something else that we started the process of was systemization and getting on board Nicola Depiazzi and going through the process of documenting systems so that hopefully going into 2024, we'll be in a much better place when it comes to systems and processes and not really needing us, say, to handhold everyone in the business. By reflecting on this and also by not having a perfect Christmas, and I'll tell you for why. One goal I have for my Christmases as the children get older is that we have big family Christmases all the time. Now, for one reason or another, we had no family around at Christmas, so it was very quiet. It was just us. And we thought, God, we want something more. So we are looking now at going away next Christmas. We went away last Christmas and it was one of the best Christmases we'd had, just because it became about the experience and it became about the people we met and it it became about that rather than the material things that of Christmas presents. And I felt this year it went reverted back to Christmas presents and the commercialism of Christmas. So we've decided that this year, 2024, we're going to go away, but we're going to go travel on a traveling holiday, not just to an all-inclusive resort. We're going to go traveling and ideally around Thailand, which is a special place for us because we got married there. We've been traveling around there numerous times when we were in our 20s as students. And I think it would be good to show the children different aspects of how other people in other countries live and what it's like. I'm currently, that's one of my big goals 2024 is to book this travel holiday, to enjoy it and spend 3 weeks. The reason for setting that goal, and this all comes from reflection on this year, really, because from reflection, we can then start to plan some really serious goals, is the fact that we need to be able to pay for this holiday, which is one element. But secondly, we need to be able to leave the business for 3 weeks. Now, I know for 1 or 2 of those weeks, maybe 1.5 of those weeks, will be closed for Christmas and New Year. But what about the weeks leading up to? We need to make sure that we've got our team ready to go on board to run it without having to phone us and have us hold their hand, because I don't want to be doing that when I'm traveling. We probably won't have great internet connection or phone lines because we'll be traveling around. So that's a big goal, to get my business in a place that by December 2024, they don't need me around for that last period of the year. And so from this reflection, one of the goals and the outcomes of it, apart from just booking this holiday, is the fact that the process and systems need to be worked on. They need to be in place so that I'm going to feel confident in leaving the team. Now, that feels like it's a really quick goal, but I feel like we've done quite a lot on it in 2023, and it's just going to develop going forward. Plus, something else we put in place for 2023 was HR and health and safety through outsourced company Peninsula. So essentially, although I've got actions to take on that, which I'm currently working through this month, the fact is that I've actually got some extra help and systems in place. So again, it doesn't fall to me. Now, something else I reflected on, which again, didn't take lots of time. Please don't think you need like a whole day to sit there and reflect or hours to sit there and reflect. This didn't take a lot of time, but I wanted to go through my sales inquiry log. And it's interesting because I'm going to give you the blunt facts, the figures here, and it doesn't make for enjoyable reading. And I'll tell you for why after. Now, in 2023, I counted all the inquiries I logged, and we had 111. Okay, just pure basic. That's not including soft landscaping. This is just from the hard perspective. And 12 of them we sold to, and they're booked in, whether they've been completed or they're booked in for 2024. It doesn't really matter. But that means that we have an 11% conversion, which is shockingly low. Now, I then thought I'm going to look at 2022 because I want to see the difference. I want to see what's increased, what's decreased. Now, interestingly, 2022, I have from my spreadsheet 138 inquiries and only 4 of those sold. So our conversion rate was 3%. So looking at those basic figures, you can show that our sales process has improved. Not a lot, but it's improved. But you can also see that the quality of inquiries have improved because the number of sales got, and that shockingly, I don't do what I tell you guys to do, which is I have not logged every single inquiry because we had way more than 12 people booked in over last year and this year going into this year. We had way more than 4 booked in the year before. So essentially, I am utterly shit at logging my inquiries, which is something I tell all my clients is something that you need to do. So again, it has just shown me that I have the outcome of this, looking back and the reflection is that I have stopped tracking properly. And I've done that because now I have been responsible for the inquiries and the logging for so long that I've forgotten that if I pass this to someone else, they haven't got a full picture of this. Neither have I. And when I look back, all of this is skewed because that is not correct. That is not what my calendar of bookings is showing me. So I found it quite funny. I could have gone, you absolute idiot. I could have berated myself, but what's the point? We're moving into a new year. all that I'm doing this reflection for is to set some goals and look at ways to improve. And it's given me that because it means that I need to get the tracking in place properly. And I probably need to give over that initial conversation, that initial inquiry to the admin lady, Anne-Marie, because she is the one that's going to be responsible for this database and she will need to have more of a handle on it. And I certainly have not got that. Literally, it's so interesting because it just shows me that I need to work on systems and processes, which again, I realize that if I want to achieve the goal of going away for 3, maybe even 4 weeks next year, I haven't decided yet. And then my third goal is that admin now takes over more stuff, and more stuff from login inquiries through to managing the customer journey, through to setting up automations. And this ultimately leads me to the goal of getting that CRM system up and running so that we can project manage better, manage the inquiries better, everything that comes along with that. That's highlighted that as a goal that needs to happen. And then number 4, one of the goals. Now, these are not an exclusive list. It's certainly not an exhaustive list because tomorrow I will be sat down with my planning. So there'll be more goals come out of this. And I might share that on the next podcast if you are interested. But number 4 is the sales process clearly needs to be worked on. Conversion rates of 3% or 11%, although they're not true and accurate because I know that we've had more inquiries and more sales. I get that. But if I'm just looking purely at the conversion rate, it's telling me, then I need to work on the sales process. Now, I'm not responsible for doing the face-to-face sale. That falls down to Mike and Sean. But essentially, we need to look at the sales process as a whole and see what we can do to improve it. Now, it could be that I could do a few more customer focus points at my side. It could be that I need to book more face-to-face appointments. It could be that I need to reintroduce the brochure style sales pitch. It could be that I get a point of sale where you can take people's money immediately, sort of thing, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to reflect back on my sales process. I'm going to look at the sales training I used to teach and see what I've forgotten, basically. And then I might do a masterclass on this because this is not I'm not the only one struggling with sales process at the moment. And for me, it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I need to be doing. I've just stopped doing it. And again, that could be just because of time. It could be multiple things. I know what it is. I know it's just because that I'm being sucked back into the business and I need to pull myself out and relook at things again from the outside perspective and see what I can do to get things running in a more solid fashion for my business that's going to make some big improvements going forward. So I wanted to share this with you guys because if you are feeling down, and we are day 4 of 2024, and you are feeling that everything's not going to plan, neither is mine. And I feel like we can get really hung up on shoulda, woulda, coulda. And we can get really hung up on the fact that we're now in 2024, we're already behind because we haven't mapped out our goals. We haven't started doing our personal growth items that are on the list every day. And I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. Just get on with it. I'm not here to say procrastination is good and to put it off is good. What I'm here to say is you may not be perfect and you may not be doing all these things immediately. It might take a few weeks to get into the routine. It might take me a few more weeks to get into the routine of doing the journaling again. It might take me a few more weeks to get into that. It could take me a few more weeks than that to get into meditation again, because I've fallen off the wagon, what with going back to being with the family, dealing with the illness and stuff. All of these things don't have to be done immediately. They are going to take time. And I would massively urge you, if you've listened so far, is to basically start your reflection process first. So reflect on 2023, look at the figures. They might not be right. They might, like me, you might realize that, oh my God, I haven't been tracking correctly, in which case you can make that change going into 2024. And from the reflection will come your goal setting. I think a lot of people are like, how do I set goals? What do I start with? Reflect back first, because that will set your first set of goals anyway. And then we can look at other goals around this. Now, if you want help with goal setting, if you want help with reflection, if you want help with your business, get in touch for 2024, because I do have some spots available for some new coaching clients if you want to come on board. Just drop me a message, Paula at thelandscaperscoach.co.uk. Now, My plan for the end of this week, I'm going to end on a high because I have scheduled in time with Mike, which is a first. Again, this is one of his goals for the year, is to set aside at least 2 days a week where we can work together for one of those days. And the second day, he'll be in the office with admin Sean to get things done. Now, we're going to spend that time tomorrow planning 2024 and beyond for the business and on our personal sides of things as well. See what we want to do, like what goals we want to set, where we want to go, what holidays we want to book, etc. So we're going to be doing that together tomorrow, which will mean that I end the week much more positively than I started this week. I think it's also been a bit difficult because I thought Tuesday was Monday, obviously, where we had the bank holiday on Monday. So it's been a bit skewed for many people, me included. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that tomorrow to get into the nitty-gritty of goal setting. And I'll share some of those with you if they're of any interest next week in the podcast. But otherwise, guys, I want you to go into 2024 knowing that whatever you set your mind to, you can do. You can choose to win or you can choose to lose. That is totally up to you and the actions and the energy that you bring to the actions you're going to be taking going forward. You can choose to have help or you can choose to do it alone. Again, that's up to you. If you want help, give me a shout. And essentially, the world is really your oyster. You can make things happen should you so wish. You just need to be prepared to take the action and bring the right energy to that. I might be putting on a sales masterclass once I've gone back myself and had a look at what I'm doing and what I should be doing again, because I have had a lot of clients ask me about sales processes in particular. So if that happens, I'll be sure to let you know and you can enjoy it too. So on that note, have a wonderful start to 2024. I am looking forward to recording quite a few more podcasts this year and bringing you some insights into the business and get some great guests on as well. So I am looking forward to 2024. I hope you are too. There's plenty of opportunities, plenty of headaches. So I've got 2 vans off the road already, and we're only on day 4, and that happened in day 3. So I currently have all the teams up and running, but only 2 vehicles to share between and my own, which is going in to the garage tomorrow. So I'm 3 vehicles down tomorrow in total, which is an exciting place to be, let me tell you. But I'm not going to dwell on it. It'll all work out in the end. I will get it fixed. I love a solution. I love a problem that I can solve, and solve it I shall. So enjoy 2024, the beginning of, and I will be with you next week for another episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. Bye, guys.